Hello, welcome back to my endless 1996 watch-a-thon. I've done 30 so far, and this will be another 10. That'll put me up to 40. I'm pushing for 100, but at the moment, I only actually own 88. So I'm trying to buy 12 more to actually have 100 even, and then at the end I can do a top 100 of 1996 that I own. Problem is some of the ones I'm missing that I would actually want to have in my collection are not cheap. Like looking at $40 to $60 for some of them, freaking ridiculous. But I'll see what I can do. I want to try and hit 100. 10 an episode, so it'll be 10 episodes, and then the 11th episode will be me just showing you the order from worst to best. So I'm going to jump right into it today. This first one is a random one that I didn't even know existed, and found it in my collection, and I was like, what the hell is this? So I didn't even know. It's called the Canterville Ghost. It stars Neve Campbell and Patrick Stewart. It also had a couple other people in it that I've seen before, but they're the two stars. And I didn't have hopes for this because it was just random. I didn't even know what the hell this movie was. And it's pretty bad. Like, here's the thing. The storyline had me intrigued. It's just classic ghost house stuff. Like, it's an old mansion. Neve Campbell and her family move into it, and Patrick Stewart is a ghost in their new house, and he just has like a tragic backstory. And Neve Campbell slowly starts to try to figure out what happened. There's nothing scary. It's not a horror movie. It's almost like a play on Hamlet from Shakespeare, like Shakespeare's Hamlet. And it's kind of like it's not a love story because they're not in love or nothing, but it's like, it's a weird one to describe. It's basically, she's just trying to help him move on. And like nothing horror-y at all. I thought it was going to be like a scary ghost story, but it isn't. It's a drama with a ghost setting. That's why it's 10th place for this episode. And other than Neve Campbell and Patrick Stewart, the acting's pretty bad. I have to say, like, and even they're not great, but it's honestly, don't even waste your time. Don't even worry about it. Unless you're like a huge Neve Campbell fan or something. But this is the third movie that I have from 1996 that she's in, which is it's crazy. Like, I already covered The Craft and Scream, and now the Canterville Ghost. 3 movies in 1 year for her. It was her breakout year. But yeah, 10th place, Canterville Ghost. Next up here, this is from Mill Creek, so it's bare bones, but it's Mary Riley. This is John Malkovich and Julia Roberts, and it's a play on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, told through the eyes of Mary Riley, who's played by Julia Roberts. This is hard. Okay, like, oh man, this one's so hard for me to talk about. I didn't like it at all. It's the only reason why I put it above Canterville Ghost is because it's more prestigious, but it's kind of the same kind of movie. It's just a drama about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and there's nothing scary in the movie. It's not a horror movie. It's just like a tragedy. It's It's a tragic story. It feels like a Shakespeare version of the story. Yet again, completely skippable. I honestly, I was, this one bummed me out because I was expecting more. Julia Roberts and Malkovich, like, two great actors, in my opinion. I don't think there was anybody else. Like, there's a couple familiar faces, but nobody of noteworthy in it. But yeah, if you, I can't. I don't. I feel like I just feel bad not recommending movies. That's why I have a hard time with some of these. But these are bottom of the year, for sure. When I'm doing my overall ranking at the end, these are going to be nearing the bottom of the list. Did not like either of those enough to be able to recommend going out and grabbing them. The next one here, at number 8, this is a made-for-television movie. This is Peter Benchley's The Beast. Had no idea what this was. I had it in my collection. Found it when I was going through pulling out all my 96 movies. And random. But it's a long movie because it's a made-for-television movie. It feels like a Stephen King adaptation. What was the total runtime? 3 hours. This one was a bit better than these last two. It wasn't great, but the cool giant kraken like octopus is well done. Like, it actually looks pretty good for what this is. Like, the acting's all, it's a TV, made for TV movie, so it's all pretty mediocre. It's not great, the acting, but it's hard. It feels like a made for TV Jaws ripoff. Like, it's pretty much Jaws, but a made for television version using a kraken or a giant octopus. But I appreciated the special effects. I actually thought the special effects were noteworthy and actually kind of cool. But I don't know. I don't even know if you can find this movie. I think I probably got this when I bought like somebody's collection off them or something, because I don't even know. Like, my collection's so big that I don't even actually remember where I got this movie. So it was probably just like I bought someone's 200 movie collection off them or something, and it was in it. Because that's how I got my collection started. I don't think I've ever told that, but yeah, when I first started collecting, I was just buying bulk. Like, I know a lot of people are all about, like, just picking and choosing what you want in your collection and stuff. But when I first started going, I just was addicted to it. So I was buying everything. I go garage sales, antique malls, looking online for people selling off their collections and stuff. And I was just buying everything. So that's why I have so many movies from each year. Like, I had 88 movies for 1996 in my collection. And now I'm going to buy a few just to bump myself up to 100. But yeah, Peter Benchley's The Beast, coming in at number 8. At number 7, this is from Disney, and it's in a dual pack. But the one that I'm talking about today is Muppet Treasure Island. It's in a dual pack with another Muppet movie. But yeah, Muppet Treasure Island. So when I was going on list to see which movies from 96, like, I looked up, this is how I did my, like, how I'm doing this entire ranking. I looked up the top 1,000 most popular movies from 1996, and I went through, wrote out everything that I would want to include if I was ranking an entire year. And I figured top 1,000, there's probably nothing above that. There's like 1001 and on is probably stuff that I wouldn't care if I had in my collection, and like for 1 year it's kind of silly to have to look past that many, and it was. Like, honestly, I barely have anything above the 500 range. Most of the movies I'm including are in the top 500. Most popular movies. But yeah, Muppet Treasure Island. Not terrible. I didn't know what to expect when I threw this on. I threw it on basically just as background noise while I was cooking supper, and then it got interesting. The music was actually pretty solid. It's got some good pirate type tunes in it that they're all singing to. And Tim Curry plays the villain. And I actually, like, he's always good. I always like Tim Curry in pretty much everything I've ever seen him in. So I was happy to see his face show up. And I enjoyed this more than I thought. Like, I know it's sitting at number 7 for this episode, but hey, I thought this was going to be like bottom of the year. Because I've never been a Muppets fan. I didn't grow up watching the Muppets. To be honest, I don't think I've only ever seen like the one with Jason Segel from like 2010 or 11 or something. So I don't have this big care for the Muppets. But this actually shocked me. Decent storyline. This is a step up. This is one that I would add to your collection. Especially a double feature from Disney, or if you can get it for a reasonable price, obviously. But yeah, fun. Number 6, we have a kids movie here based on a true story. This is called Fly Away Home. This is with Jeff Daniels and a very young Anna Paquin, amongst a couple other people, but this is a true story. I didn't know until after I was already watching it. Oh wow, it was an Academy Award nominee for Best Cinematography. Cool, didn't know that. But yeah, it tells the story of, what's the guy's name? I watched this over a month ago. I can't remember the freaking character's name that Jeff Daniels plays. Anyways, it's based on his real life character, and he adopts, I'll say, without giving away like tons of story, he adopts a flock of geese here in Canada, and he lives near Toronto area, and he basically trains them. It's a long story, but I'm giving you the basis of it. Him and his daughter train them to fly with him in a homemade aircraft that he created. And because they're not going to migrate, and they're going to die if they don't, because they weren't born in a proper... They give you all the way Canadian geese work. And this guy basically created an entire migration pattern for these birds. And at the very end, so he flies them all across the United States down in the south. And he does it himself, and it becomes a huge thing. Like, it's showing real clips from news footage and stuff talking about it as he's doing it. And so he actually creates... I know this might sound boring to a lot of people, but it's actually a really heartfelt, like, good, wholesome family movie. It felt like it was just a feel-good movie. Yeah, that's what it is. He flies geese across U.S., and then at the very end, it shows them come land back for the summer where he lives. They fly back to his house, and they bring up the real-life stats, and it said that the first year, the first migration cycle, every single bird came back to his house. They were all tagged, so every one of them ended up coming back to his house. And then it popped up saying, to this day, he has a sanctuary on his property that all the geese come back. It's like 1,000 of them now, and they all come to his property. And yeah, it was cool. It's just a wholesome family movie, feel good family movie. At number 6, and then up at number 5 here we have John Carpenter's Escape from L.A. This recently got a 4K not too long ago. Didn't bother upgrading because, in my opinion, this is one of Carpenter's worst movies. It's still fun. That's why I have it at number 5. It's just a fun action movie. It had a few decent comedic scenes that I was laughing pretty good. Kurt Russell's awesome. That he makes this movie. Without Kurt Russell, this is just a run of the mill fucking action movie that isn't the greatest. But one sec, I forgot to check for codes. So far, nothing. I don't think I'm gonna have any codes in this episode. Nope. Mary Riley. Nope. Canterville Ghost. Nope. So no codes in this episode. But, with that said, Escape from LA. If you ever seen Escape from New York, it's basically just the same movie. Again, but shittier. This one just feels lazier, but it's a fun action movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm pretty sure I've seen everything Carpenter's done as a director. And this is near the bottom for me, for him, but it's still fun. And then next up here at number 4, this is Travolta and Slater. Christian Slater, John Travolta. This is Broken Arrow. Just another fun action film. Like, this isn't great. It's John Woo, directed by John Woo. It's not, like, fantastic, but it does have some good sequences. Like, they both work in the military, test flying F-16 fighter jets, and during a routine training exercise, Travolta tries to kill Christian Slater because they have a nuclear warhead on their plane that Travolta got snuck onto it, and he tries to steal the nuke head, and he's gonna sell it and basically retire. Just classic villain stuff. And Christian Slater fights him back. They crash the plane, and then the action movie begins. And there's a couple twists and turns, nothing major, and it's just your run-of-the-mill action movie from that point on. But it's not bad. It's got some fun sequences. Like, this episode so far isn't the greatest. Like, these aren't the best films ever, but Broken Arrow, if you haven't seen it, check it out. That's all I can really say about it. And next up at number 3, this is a courtroom drama with a really stacked cast. This is A Time to Kill. Good, like, racial courtroom drama here. Sandra Bullock, Matthew McConaughey, Samuel Jackson, Kevin Spacey. There's a bunch of people. Oliver Platt is in this. Charles Dutton. Ashley Judd. Donald Sutherland. I think even Kiefer Sutherland has a smaller role in this. Like, there's a lot of people in this. And I have to say, this is moving into the more upper class of the year. This one tells the story of Samuel Jackson. First off, they live in a really, like, racist area where blacks and whites are segregated, and a few white guys, racist white dudes, rape and brutalize Samuel Jackson's daughter and leave her for dead hanging from a tree. And she doesn't die, but she is, like, unable to have children ever again because she's been raped so bad by all these guys. It's brutal, and she's like 12 years old. And then they both get off. Or, not both, sorry. All the guys don't get charged because it's just a racist area and the court system doesn't give a shit, basically. So as they're all walking out of the courthouse, Samuel L. Jackson takes his gun and he goes and kills them all. And he accidentally shoots a cop. He doesn't kill the cop, but he shoots a cop in the leg, paralyzes him. And then the movie begins, and it becomes a courtroom drama. And Matthew McConaughey takes on the case and slowly has to try to convince a jury that Samuel L. Jackson wasn't in the wrong. And it ends with a great closing statement, just a tear-jerking ending. Throughout the movie, the KKK are threatening to kill McConaughey and his family and stuff. It's just a real like political thriller. It's solid. If you haven't seen A Time to Kill, you should definitely check it out. It's got everything in it. But yeah, Time to Kill at number 3 for this episode. And then at number 2, I have Beavis and Butthead Do America. I have to say, this was a first-time watch. This is one I actually bought and added into my collection. Oh, it's got a digital. This one I just bought and added it into my collection. So this digital code should actually be pretty active as well. I'll hold that there for a good 10-20 seconds because sometimes it takes my camera time to focus in on that number. Hopefully that focused in. Really enjoyed this. I didn't know what to think because I've never seen a Beavis and Butthead anything. I was really young when this came out, when the show was on TV, so I never really got into it. But I have to say that this movie sold me on these two characters. There's some parts in this that I was gut-busting laughing. The whole movie as a premise is just silly. Oh man, I don't even want to spoil this one because if you haven't seen it and you want to just get some good laughs, just grab it and watch it. There's not much to say. It's just two doofuses that are traveling across America. They're trying to get laid, and the way they act, it's hard to explain. If I tried to describe it, you would think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but it grows on you and you start to actually like enjoy the characters. When they first came on, the noises they were making and stuff was irritating, but then by the time the movie's over, none of the stuff that irritated me anymore. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Made it to my number 2 of this episode. And then my number 1 is one of the biggest movies that came out in 1996. And it is Independence Day. It's my number 1 for this episode. I don't really know why I even show you the back of these cases. I just do it just in case you want to like freeze it and read special features. Like everyone's seen Independence Day pretty much. But what can I say about Independence Day? Will Smith giving it all. Jeff Goldblum. It's got in my opinion, it's one of the best like apocalypse style movies, even though it isn't that. It's an alien invasion. But it feels like an apocalypse movie, like a 2012 and stuff like that. And it's fun. It's got lots of good comedy. It's got some excellent cheesy moments that these movies need to have. So a couple great speeches, especially from Bill Pullman as he's playing the president of the United States. Randy Quaid does a good job in this. It's a fun movie. I could really throw this on anytime. I'd probably upgrade to the 4K when I have the extra money. But like I said, a lot of these movies, like I like collecting so many movies. I like to I want to have years completed eventually. That's my goal. is to actually complete entire years. Like this 96, well, by the time I'm done here, there'll be no movies left that I would want to buy to add to my collection. There'll be like one or two that have never been released. So if they ever get released, I'll grab them and finish off the year. But as of right now, there's a couple that I would want in my collection. I haven't seen them. I've never seen the movie. But I would want them in my collection, but they've just never been released. So, and they probably never will be. So I'm probably going to have pretty much a complete year by the time I'm done all this. Pretty much completed 1996. But yeah, here's another 10 titles from my least to my favorite here. All the way down. Pretty solid. Well, I shouldn't say that. This is probably the weakest of the episodes I've done so far. The top 3 are like absolute must grabs. I think these 3 you should definitely add into your collection. If you're just a small time collector and you just like to have the best movies on the market in your collection, you don't care about completionist type stuff like me, then those would be the 3 that I would say you gotta have. The rest, unless you're a Carpenter completionist, Escape from LA. But yeah, the rest are just if you want to have everything like I do. I don't know. I don't even know why I want to have everything in my collection. It's just a combination of OCD, and I find it extremely fun. Just trying to finish off an entire year. It's almost like a goal, basically. Like I'm going to set out. I'm like right now, since I've started 1996, I haven't bought hardly any movies from other years because I've just been trying to find movies for this year and spend my money on that. So yeah, I will. Thanks for joining me again. I'm making these episodes as short as I can, just because my final one, where I do my entire ranking of the year, that one will probably be a bit longer. And if I missed anything I wanted to say during these episodes for each of the movies as I go through them on that final episode, I'll say some extra there. But yeah, thank you so much, and I will talk to you in the next one.